So hi guys, welcome to this Women in Business event. I am so excited to be here tonight with some absolutely amazing people and all of you amazing people. If you could pop in the chat what you're hoping to get most out of this evening, that would be really great. I know that Mina will be watching the chat. I will do my best to watch the chat as well. If you have any questions that you know that you have in advance, go ahead and pop those in the chat too, so that we can make sure that they get answered. As I said, we are recording this session. There are so many knowledge bombs that get dropped, and we really want to make sure that we are helping as many women as possible on their business journeys. So to that end, the recording will be public. So I will say that if you don't want to have your name or face visible, you can absolutely rename yourself, and you can turn off your camera if you want. It's really whatever is comfortable for you. So tonight's session is on confidence and self-awareness and leading into pitching your business. We are so lucky to be joined by an amazing panel. So I'm not going to spend too long with me talking because I really want to get into these beautiful business journeys and get you guys as much access to the speakers as possible tonight. But just to do a little recap of how we all got here, last year, BSWN partnered with NatWest to deliver what was formerly known as Back Her Business, but is now the Women in Business program. We really wanted to fill this gap between accessibility and support for Black and Asian women in this entrepreneurial space. It's not an easy journey for anyone, and there are just some barriers that are unique to this community. So it was an honor and a privilege to be able to bring this specialized support via workshops, salons, one-to-ones with me yelling at a few of the women just to stand in their confidence and be their best selves. And we had some really wonderful outcomes, and we are joined by a few of the women from the program tonight. So I'm really excited for you to hear what they all got up to. I'm going to read you a really beautiful quote, and I want to do it up at the top because if you are afraid of pitching your business, I want you to know that you don't have to be. And this quote from Kathryn, one of our, hi sweetie, one of our students, really is a great example of what you can get when you embrace the confidence and self-awareness, pour that into your pitch and get results. So Kathryn said that hearing feedback on her pitch helped her to refine it to make it more appealing and relevant to the situation in which she might use it. Also, having the opportunity to practice saying it in front of an audience has helped massively with my confidence and speaking to a group. So hopefully by the end of tonight, we will actually have some time for you to pitch if you want to. And I will say that this is a super safe space. I would encourage anyone who has wanted to pitch, been afraid, not doing the job, to just do it in the mirror, to take advantage of this opportunity, especially if you would like feedback from your peers. It's an honor to have you guys here tonight. I am going to be introducing Banasa from Ksoni. Vanessa, I'm always so sorry when I say that because I know how to say it and then I freeze right at the moment when it counts. Nkechi is the founder and managing director of the Gneiss Way, and you're gonna beat me up for mispronouncing that as well. Tola is the founder of Know Your Culture, and Julene is just this multidisciplinary, award-winning artist, scientist, scholar, all of it. So I will give each of them a fuller introduction as we go into each of their business journeys, but just know you are going to be hearing some wonderful stories tonight, and I am thrilled for you. Big thank you to BSWN and NatWest for making this all possible and bringing us together tonight. And again, final warning, this workshop, it is being recorded. And I think that is, with 20 seconds to spare on my 5-minute allotment to welcome you, here we go. Everyone have their water, their teas. Let's get into it. So the first person I'm going to introduce you tonight is Vanessa Williams. So Banasa is one of my fellow North American queens currently finding themselves in England. She's a senior commercial leader with 15 years of sales and marketing experience within FMCG. The wellness and lifestyle brands. Guys, I've had so much coffee today, my brain is short-circuiting. With a special interest in the broader social impact of emerging markets, technology, and wellness, Banasa has successfully launched new product categories, built mainstream adoption around niche products, and created engaging online and offline campaigns. As a friend, I've been able to witness her doing this over the last many moons, and she is just absolutely one of the most impressive people I've ever met in my life. In 2018, she decided decided to take the entrepreneurial leap and became the co-founder of Ksoni, a sustainable body care brand featuring shampoos, conditioners, and body washes in aluminum cans and tins. When she's not building Ksoni, you can find Banasa in the gym. She's a yoga instructor and making hats. She is a part-time milliner. I can personally vouch for the fact that Vanessa will try to drag you into the gym against your will, and that the Ksoni products are absolutely amazing. They make your hair smell great. I personally love them. So Vanessa, welcome to this evening. Thank you so much for joining us. And I'm going to go ahead and ask you a super easy question. What made you want to start a business? Where did you begin?
Thanks, Bobby, and thanks for that introduction. Every time I hear it, I just think, oh my goodness. And I guess that's the first place I'd start when talking about confidence and pitching. Get used to hearing your bio and revel in your accomplishments. But my entrepreneurial journey started when I became a yoga instructor, actually, many years ago. And anyone who's heard my story knows that I didn't intend to become a yoga instructor. I went off to an ashram. I was trying to avoid working in my degree, which is in computer science, very different. And I fell in love with the practice and teaching, and I started doing that. And I quickly learned that it was more than just perfecting my craft and getting in front of students. It was also about marketing. It was also about pitching to studio owners and saying, yes, I am the best person to take this prime slot. It was about forecasting how many classes do I have to teach at what price to achieve the goals that I've set for myself, or just survive, really. I was in my early 20s at the time, just, pay the rent, keep the lights on. So that was the nucleus of how it started. And then from there, I've had the opportunity to work with a whole bunch of different businesses within lifestyle and wellness and food and so on. And the sweet spot that I found, what I really enjoyed, was growing a small business and starting in somebody's kitchen, sitting around the kitchen table with 2 or 3 people. And then you look ahead a couple years later and you're like, oh, wow, we've got an actual office now. We're actually doing the thing and reaching so many more people. So all of that was kind of training for where I am now with Ksoni and deciding to take that entrepreneurial leap. And it really was a leap. I was made redundant from my job a couple years prior. I did some consulting and I decided to go for it. And all of that is kind of little steps or little aha moments along the way that led me to where I am now.
And, I've had the pleasure of knowing you like all the way from sitting in a really random little coffee shop in London talking about your time at UGG, all the way back to that, through, wellness supplements, through your crypto phase. And there with any journey like this, working at the level that you do, there are going to be so many ups and downs. And I'm wondering if you could talk to us a little bit about how you maintain your confidence through working for others, working for yourself, and launching this, beautiful brand into the world.
Yeah, sure. So there have been a number of things that I've tried over the years with varying degrees of success. Bobby, as you've known me for a long time, you know the periods when I was trying things that didn't work very well. There were a lot of tears then. But what I found worked for me at this stage, and growing a business of my own is absolutely one of the most challenging things that I've taken on in my professional life. Absolutely. So what I've been doing for the past few years that has really worked for me is my journal. So I don't think any of you have heard me talk about my journal before, but usually when people ask me, I do talk about my journal. I usually have it close by. I don't have it close by today. But in my journal, every day I write my word of the day. So how am I feeling today? It doesn't have to be a positive word, just whatever comes up. And then I follow it up with 3 things that I'm grateful for. And that combination of the word and the gratitude practice really helps me stay focused and really helps me get ready to take on whatever it is I'm going to take on in the day. Because there's a lot. There's a lot that can go wrong and right when running a business. So that really helps me a lot. And the other thing that I started doing, and I discovered it last year whilst I was doing yoga training, is to think about where I'm from and kind of embark on this journey of self-examination. And as a founder or managing director or any leadership position, I think that this notion of continual self-examination is really important. So what kind of leader are you? What are you good at? What are you not? What triggers you? Like, what are you unnecessarily upset by or sensitive to? What brings you joy? And this helps me be a better person with my team, because I cannot do this by myself. So I know when I'm triggered by something and I'm like, okay,
Shana,
oh,
Shana.
Sophie, I think you are off mute. Okay, there we go. So that helps me be a better leader. So it takes a village. And it also reminds me why I keep doing this.
I love that. And it's so important to, self-awareness is not something that everyone walks through this life with. And it's so important to know that how you're feeling within yourself does impact your team, and how you impact your team comes back in that circle to how you're feeling about yourself and how you guys are all interacting towards this broader goal. I can't imagine that you wake up and start a business with just a focus on social impact and don't care about how you're interacting with the world. So in addition to, the journaling, which is such a beautiful practice, and I love that idea of starting with the word of the day, giving yourself permission to not actually have to have that be a positive one, and grounding that in your gratitude practice. I love how you speak about how that helps you with that self-awareness and how it gives you kind of permission to just be. And one of the things that we're talking about tonight is pitching. And as a woman, pitching can look really different versus for men. And I'm wondering if you can talk a little bit about, one, what it's like for you to be a business owner and pitch, and two, how you feel self-awareness. Obviously confidence plays into it, but how you think self-awareness specifically plays into how you pitch and why you pitch.
Sure. From a self-awareness point of view, I am aware that I am a Black female founder, and I am very aware of the dire statistics around Black businesses getting funding and how we tend to have to go about growing our businesses compared to our white counterparts. And for me, how that shows up in the way I pitch is, my pitch is very numbers focused. So I am the person who's going to tell you the size of the market, and then I'm going to narrow it down, and then I'm going to tell you how much more my target audience is spending. So in my 60-second pitch, there are a lot of statistics. I want to be hyper competent so that I leave no room for error with investors that I don't, or that I know what I'm talking about. And that's a choice. And that's a choice that maybe comes at the expense of some of the emotional value that I would love to convey about the brand. But it's also one that has served me well in the way that I pitch, because I do feel that without that there is some of that resistance. Oh, well, does she really know? Or what I often get is, ooh, maybe you're too young for this, or is this a Black brand? These kinds of questions. And it doesn't really matter if it is or it isn't, but it's the way that I pitch is to convey the information, to excite, but also to dispel any sort of misconceptions straight from the start.
while I ask this question, Mina, I'm going to ask if you can pop into the chat Leapfrog. We talk about this book every time we come together, but if you want to hear more about the differences, the different questions that women are asked versus men in that pitching environment, Leapfrog is a really great book to read. Vanessa, are you still working on your pitch? How confident are you in giving
My pitch has evolved
it?
so much. And I still get very, very nervous when I pitch inside. And it's just like all of the chills, all of the feels. But I know that it is important to do it. And I know the feedback is extremely important. So I will pitch whenever I can. And I'm in the midst of a fundraising round right now. So I am pitching and refining my pitch. I'm very happy with my pitch at the moment, actually, until an investor says no. But right now it's going well.
So would you like to give us your pitch?
Woo, I knew you were going to say that. I knew you were going to say that. And I will give you my pitch. And I will also say, as a tip, don't be afraid to have your notes close by in case you need it for your pitch, which I do. All right. So, hi, my name is Banasa, co-founder at Ksoni. Ksoni is a Sanskrit word that means earth, and our mission is to reduce single-use plastic in the bathroom through our range of natural hair care products housed in the humble aluminum can. We were inspired to start Ksoni after learning that while 90% of products are recycled in the kitchen, only 50% are recycled in the bathroom. We then noticed there weren't enough products available on supermarket shelves for kinky, coily, or curly hair textures. Given that over 65% of women in the world have textured hair and spend 78% more on products, we feel that Ksoni is a perfect addition to the $8.7 billion global natural hair care market. Since our launch in October 2019, and despite COVID, we have boosted our average monthly sales by 167%, grown our email and social database to over 5,000 people, and averaged 4.9 out of 5 stars on our customer reviews. We are founded by a passionate team with over 15 years of relevant commercial experience, and we are so excited to share the Ksoni journey with you. Thank you.
Can we give Vanessa a round of applause? We did have a question in the chat about actually the structure of a pitch for investors. So Vanessa, as a final question for you for now, I'd love if you could talk to us about the structure of your pitch and if there are major things that change depending on who you're pitching to, what those might be.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll share the main things that I think are important for a pitch for anybody, and then I'll talk a little bit about investors or if anyone has a specific question. I do change it a little bit depending on the audience. So you'll notice in my pitch, I didn't talk about the valuation of my business or how much money I'm seeking. So that will change. But the first and most important thing for your pitch is, what is your business? And I know it sounds super obvious, but it's something that so many businesses do get wrong because we're in our heads about our business, and even ourselves. When we say, what do you do? We were like 90-50, women, hair, texture. And they're like, okay, but what is it? Is it a shampoo or is it? And then we were like, okay, so we have to start with what is the business and make it super clear. The second thing is in your pitch is to address the problem that your product or service is going to solve and see if that is exciting. So if there's no problem to be solved, then investors in particular won't necessarily resonate with that, and nor will your audience. Third is, who are the customers? So often I do some consulting as well, and I'll say, so who are your customers? And people will be like, everybody can use it. And that may be true. However, especially as you're starting out, there are only some customers that your marketing dollars are going to reach and who are going to be instantly attracted to the product, as opposed to you spending lots of Facebook ad dollars or trade show dollars to entice them. And then last, I think that the size of the opportunity is important. So when I was talking in my pitch about the size of the hair care market, that's really important. So Bobby, you mentioned my millinery and make hats. And the reason why I don't make hats as a career is I did this exercise and I thought, yes, hats, I'm so good at this. Beyonce's can get one and Future's gonna get one, you know, all of these people. And then I did the math. I looked at the size of the market. I looked at the price I wanted to sell them for. I looked at how much I would have to spend on marketing. And I realized that what I had was essentially an unprofitable business. And so it's really important to do that, because if you don't do it, the investor will do it for you. And then that shuts down the whole conversation from there.
It's so, so important, Vanessa. Thank you so much. I hope you guys got some great tips there in terms of what you can pull out to craft your pitch. And especially, Banasa, thank you so much for mentioning that not everyone is your customer. It is important to niche down. And that too is one of the first things I say to people when they say it. Our audience is everyone. It's not, I promise you. So Banasa, thank you so much. What I'm gonna do now is I am going to introduce one of the graduates of the most recent cohort of Back Her Business, now known as Women in Business, Nkechi Commetant. I am so proud of this woman. She is the founder and managing director of the Gneiss Way, a design-led construction management consultancy that offers services to project owners and main contractors. Their goal is to bridge the gap and eliminate common barriers affecting the less represented minority in the community. I cannot tell you how I squealed with joy during our first one-to-one when she just showed up, this beautiful Black woman working in construction. When you ever see that, was just absolutely impressed by her passion, her expertise, and her commitment to really changing the game in her industry. So many founders, entrepreneurs get into it because they are trying to solve a problem, they are trying to make the world a better place, they are trying to leave their mark in some way. And I can't stress enough how impressed I was by the journey that we went through in the Women in Business program and the impact that I think that this amazing woman is going to have on her sector and the world. So without further ado, welcome to our Confidence, Self-Awareness, and Pitching event tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. I will turn the floor over to you. You've been doing this since 2019 in this specific way, but you've obviously been in the industry for longer. And I would love to hear you touch on how the past 2 years, especially in light of coronavirus, has impacted your outlook on the business and on yourself.
Okay, thank you. Yes, so I'm a bit nervous, but not. I've been doing so. Obviously, I've been in the construction industry for 16 years, and I've been having a stop and start. So a lot of redundancy, or whatever reason, they've decided they don't want me again, and that's what's been happening. So I wanted to take control of my experience, control of my journey in the construction industry, because I knew I was never going to leave this industry. I love this industry so much. And so what happened was an opportunity came about. I had a phone call at the station, and they were like, look, if you want to work on this particular project, you have to be a company limited. And in my head, I wanted to start in 2 to 3 more years down the line and stuff. So literally within 1 week, I had to set up a company limited, get my bank in order. It was literally just everything started so fast. And then I was just a consultant on this project. So I was sitting on this project, doing the work, and then I started to think about what's going to be next, because I can't just, this is at some point this is going to end. And so I had to think about what's my next steps. So in the back of my mind, I always had them in my mind. And then obviously I was pregnant during the time of this project. Literally on my official last day, I was in meetings. I was in labor in meetings, and in the morning I was like in that meeting, and then I was like called at 12 o'clock and said, look, I'm on my baby now, so see you guys later. And left and literally had my baby. And then I was planning to only take 3 weeks off and get back in, because it was working from home because of COVID. I knew I could manage my time. I knew what my capabilities were. However, the company I was working on serving, they had quite a lot of permanent staff on furlough. So I had that feeling that, okay, they would rather have their own people back. So I knew something was going to change in this process. As soon as the baby was born, 3 weeks in, they then announced that, okay, we no longer need your services. And I handed over my work to 3 of their staff. And I had to decide now, what's my next step? And I thought, okay, this is my opportunity, because I had all these ideas to move my business to the next level. I had them, but I had no time. So God gave me time. I didn't have money, but I had time. So from the moment literally from June, all the way onto I came on the Women in Business program, I had started to work on my ideas, but I knew that I need to be in a space with other women, you understand, to kind of, let's explore to the next level. You know, where can I take this to? And understanding the different ways I could do this. And when I entered into the Women into Business, I had like 3 different services all jumbled into one. And we still have them, Bobby, but now they're not in one business, they are 3 different businesses, because I've learned that in the construction industry, every business is a focus area. So you've announced my project management or construction design management services. And actually now, with COVID, I always wanted to become digital. So, and since the wave of the industry and all the discussion that's been going on, everyone's been talking about digital, lately digital. I was like, thank you, Jesus. Because it means now that my service that I wanted to become a remote kind of service provider, it's coming into play now. However, I'm seeing that where I thought it's more of a main contractor who are the dominant holder of a project, it's more of the subcontractors, because they are so behind in moving into the technology world. We are dinosaurs in the country. We drag our heels. A lot of these old guys, they just don't want to move forward. So we're just waiting for them to kind of, retire, if you want to say that. Is a nice way of saying it, so that the new generation can come in and take over. On the Women in Business program, the one key thing that I really learned from myself and my journey is to understand working in the business and working on the business, and what's the difference between the two, and allocating time for each one, and understanding that, okay, maybe working on the business may not generate money, working in the business is when you make the money and stuff. And then how much of my time and who do I give my work away to? Because I started to realize that, thank God, I am quite techie, but there's something I just don't want to do. So I really want to have other people doing these things for me, to be fair. And so I discovered that, okay, as a small micro business within the industry, trying to play along these big guys, where they have an in-house marketing team, an in-house finance team, they have everything. How do I compete with these kind of people? Because that's my standard. I've always worked at, multi-million pound level projects. I've always done it, whether it's PAYE, whether it's consultant level, and I want to remain there. I'm not going to do anything lower than what I've been doing. I'm not used to it. I can't do a house extension. What is that? Sorry, no offense to anyone who does that, but that's not what I do. I'm always working on mixed use, big projects. I'm always used to it. It's always God has blessed me that way. So I want to remain that way. And how I've been able to do this now, or the direction I'm going now is to outsource. So what I've done now is I'm working and networking with other people who offer those services. So I give an example, HR. So I need my HR because I know that I'm going to employ. I'm going to subcontract my work out. I'm going to win these contracts, and then I have my team who's going to do the work for me. Okay, my HR lady that I have in place now, she comes into my business as and when I need, I can afford her. She does projects based on that, and then she shifts out. Okay, I have a finance person who comes in as and when I need it, do the work, and then out. At the meantime, we're pacing ourselves so they grow with me eventually. And then I know that down the line, about 3 years time, then I can have these permanently in place. But at least then I found a mechanism for my business, and I've learned this on the way, that there is a way around. You just need to be creative in how you do it. And so with that way, this connection, we're creating this I'm creating this kind of circle of, and they're all women, to be fair, I don't know how this happened. It's not that I went out my way, but they're all women that I have around me who are like, yeah, Nkechi, you can do this. Yeah, okay, let's see how we can work your budget. We make it work. I was like, okay, fine, this is my budget for this element. What can you do with this budget? And they're there. They're there for me, pushing me forward to go. And things are starting to really start to happen in the direction I'm going in. So yeah, that's think, I don't know if I'm talking too much. Well,
I don't even know where to start with, the differentiation between in the business and on the business is so important. God blessed you this way, so you're not going to do anything different. It's so important. Working with women, it's so important. It's just incredible. Thank you so much for sharing all of that. And I hope you guys are taking notes or are going to go watch the replay, because she just gave you the roadmap to success. You don't see her out here trying to do it all alone. You're contracting, you're making your money work for you. I love it, all of it. So with all of this stuff going on, I'm going to ask you the same question that I asked Banasa. How do you maintain your confidence? I saw such a big change in you from the beginning of the program to the end, and from the end of the program to tonight. So I would love to hear what things keep you going.
Okay. So for me, I focus on living in alignment of my vision. And how do I put this? The vision is the impact I'm going to be making. I think that's where my confidence comes back. The impact I am, my business is going to make in my community and in the world. And that's where my confidence comes from. I'm so passionate, so my body's just kind of, my hairs and my arms is going up. Because I love what I do. I know that what I do is going to change lives. So that vision, when I keep seeing that, I get up every night. When I want to sleep, I'm like, no, I need to get up to do what I need to do in life. So I look at where are my strengths, where are my skills, where are my aspirations, have an understanding of what that is. Then I focus on that. I keep focusing there, and I then place goals on these elements and start to begin to see how I can establish this. And this is where my confidence comes from. Knowing that this is something that I can, like a relay race, when you go, like I'm at the beginning, I'm that first person, and like I'm gonna hand it over to like my kids, whoever it is, I need to hand it over, because that's why I didn't want it to be in my name. I didn't want it to be in Nkechi, because I obviously people say, oh, put your name. No, I don't want it to be my name. I've always hated working in companies, it was their name, because then it didn't give you the opportunity to grow in it and make it yours. It felt like I was building someone else's future. So now I feel like now where I have this Gneiss way, it's everybody's future. I mean, anyone can come in and take ownership of any element they want to be in what I'm trying to create the foundation of. And that's where my confidence comes in, is that I know life's going to change.
Just building, I think it's beautiful that you have this vision and you're drawing the power to make it work by building others up. It's really admirable that you are that aligned and that passionate. And my hair was standing up just listening to you just now. If you had to, pick a turning point for you in terms of getting to this stage, what would you say it was?
Turning point.
Mm-hmm.
Thinking now. I don't know if it's a turning point. I think let me put it this way around. I'm going to change that question around a little bit. My mom came here as an immigrant, right? It's almost like you have the American dream, but I want the London or the UK dream, the American dream that way. So it's always been there, like as in around me, and then there wasn't any turning point. I just knew. I think from the age of 10, I knew. I said to my mom, I want to build buildings. I want to build 3 hospitals and 3 schools. I think that's when my turning point hit. It wasn't old. It was from that very young age, from 10 years old. I knew this is what I want to do. I saw my mom struggle, to try and make things happen for a family back home, and I wanted to make. Let there be a difference. Does that make sense? Let's set a new standard of growth in my family. Does that make sense? And stuff. So I believe I'm almost there in that sense, and setting the foundations in place. I went public school in the UK. My son is going private school. For me, that in education, that's a new turning point or a new level in our family now. We're now setting a new thing because he's the next generation. Does that make sense? Mm. So for me, turning point, I don't know if I've answered your question, but it's more of, it's happened when I was 10 and it's been consistent. My thing was that I didn't know, I have a vision, I don't know how I'm going to get it. It's going to happen. That's all I know. So I've been more relaxed about, okay, how it's going to happen, more than fixed. It must be this way, this way, this way. You know, the world has told me the only way you can become great in, let's say, in construction, you must go to this, you must do this, you must do this, you must do that. No, I've decided to remove that out of my way and just kind of go with the flow and what works for me and myself and my situation, because no one knows my background. I know my background. I know my strengths. I know my. So you can't box everybody in that direction of how they're going to move forward in whatever they want to do in this life.
Oh, the quotes we're going to pull out of that. Thank you so much. Now, you know what's coming. You know what's coming. Would you like to share your 60-second pitch with us?
Yes, I will. I was actually changing it up as I was speaking, because that's what happens to me all the time. When I'm in an event, I think this is what I want to say, but then I make some changes as I was doing it. And yes, kind of have it. So excuse me if it's a bit of a mess, but yeah, I would love to say where I'm at, because I'm moving into the next direction. I'm not the other businesses that I was talking about. I'm moving into that, things starting to happen around and back behind that, and there's a lot of support. So let me just see it. So hi, my name is Nkechi-Vivien, Commetant, the founder of the Gneiss Way. Gneiss is a digital-led construction and design management consultancy. We offer our core services to main contractors, subcontractors, and the construction supply chain. I have over 16 years experience from business strategy to pre-construction architecture and construction development. I'm also building my knowledge and specializing in corporate social responsibility in the construction industry supply chain. And I'm focusing on equality, diversity, and inclusion. And with this experience, with this knowledge, I have been able to understand that there is a lack of support in minority-led traders and specialist consultants to secure public sector construction projects. That's what I'm going for. I'm going for that. I'm going for that because majority of the money, the next 6-10 years, 600 million pounds is going to be plunged into the government's infrastructure. And I want to see a real change in how they grab and what's the word? How they are, I'm freestyling this part now, which is coming out of me, how they are able to diverse the projects that they have in place. One way I'm helping this issue is one of two solutions is I'm creating in the Gneiss training, and I'm focusing on a course which helps make the construction business made simple. And what that is going to do now is to break down all the barriers, everything that you think you know about business, or any elements in business that you don't know. I'm learning as I'm going along as well. I'm like, wow, this is amazing. This is what this is about. This particular course is going to help move, focusing on minorities to get them to the next level, to secure those projects. I want to see, it's all good that we have apprenticeship, that's fine, but I want to see owners, business owners owning on projects. Does that make sense? Yeah, so yeah, it's kind of messy now, forget it.
No, that was wonderful. Can we give you a lovely round of applause? Thank you so much. I'm excited to follow the journey, and I hope all of you guys too are. I've noticed a few newcomers, so go ahead and say hi in the chat if you're just joining us. Let us know what you're most hoping to get out of tonight, and just one more big round of applause. Thank you so much for sharing that with us, and I'm gonna have to watch this again because I need to just soak up the awesomeness that you're giving us. All right. So we are going to move on to our next wonderful speaker for tonight. I'm so excited to introduce Tola Taiwo, the founder of the Know Your Culture podcast and a recovering person who thought her audience was everyone and wanted to and wanted to ask any old body for their opinions on what she was doing. She describes herself as a Nigerian diasporan living in deep Devon, England. Know Your Culture is a platform and podcast promoting a patterned culture that speaks truth into our everyday lives. I've had the pleasure of working with this wonderful woman since the Women in Business, formerly known as Back Her Business program. Every time I talk to her, I'm left with my cheeks just hurting from smiling the whole time because her energy is so good, and I'm really thrilled for you guys to get to hear from her tonight. So without further ado, Tola, will you let us know what made you launch the Know Your Culture podcast and platform? And I'm going to ask you to share a little bit of a story about when you first came into the Back Her Business program. And I could see the weight on your shoulders when you came in our first chat together. And I would love for you to talk about the turning point that you had in getting this baby out into the world.
Yeah, sure. Thank you for that intro. That was nice, actually. I've never been like introduced like that at all.
Come on down.
So yeah, I think so at the moment, I think just before thinking about doing this and doing Back Her Business, I think throughout my time sort of at medical school and seeing patients, studying with different people, seeing people kind of unsure about church, and just many a burnt out person, basically, including myself. I think I realized that sometimes we can find that there's no sort of outlet, there's no like regular outlet for things that we might be feeling. But beyond that, there might not be sufficient refill. So for me, like I write, and there are times where I feel like I don't have words, but I have a song to sing to God. So, and I think empowering women, I think that can feel quite vague these days, because everyone kind of wants to empower everyone to be themselves and to do themselves. So do you, and don't let anyone hold you back. And I think it can stay quite individualistic. But I wanted kind of empowering and the podcast to be more than that, and to be about maybe sharing strength, imparting ability, kind of like tying rope strands together, actually. And yeah, I believe in how creative, God's created us all to be, and that we should share that. And the art that can come from the struggles that we may be having. So whether that's relational struggles or spiritual pressures or racial hostility, but without shame. So Know Your Worth aims to be kind of all that curated, godly encouragement, basically. And I think your second sort of question was about like what was it like being in Back Her Business?
Well, I remember our first one-to-one, and I hope you don't mind me sharing this with everyone. You just seemed really discouraged, but that weight did lift off of you throughout the course of the program. And I'm just wondering, what was that for you? What helped you kind of get from A to B?
Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying now. Yeah, so I think talking to you in that first session, I think what you helped me realize is that I tend to do this thing that I normally do when I'm studying, is like make mind maps upon mind maps upon mind maps. And then they just become this like pile of things that I'm just like flicking through, and like, I don't know where this starts and this like moves on to. And then I think I just kind of half give up in believing that this will become something, because it just seems like it's on paper and nothing's going to happen. And I think you made me realize that I needed, attainable things, and to keep that in view. So keep those stepping stones in view. And to not use the mind maps, actually, to stay away from the mind maps. I realized that they weren't actually, maybe they were helpful for studying, but they weren't helpful for like putting my ideas down and actually, keeping myself focused. So I think another part of why I was discouraged is because I just thought like, I don't really feel like I have anything. I don't feel like there's anything to really like say that, I can pitch this, I can tell you more about this. I didn't really feel like there was much to say. But I think I've realized with all the planning that I've been doing that there's just so much that I've put into it. I think, with having a full-time course, I've not had the time to always be like, okay, I'm going to take every day from here on to do this and to focus on this. So it's kind of felt like stop-starty. But I think coming back to my sort of goals and looking at those stepping stones, I've realized I've actually come away already. So I think it came from discouragement, but I think it lifted because I realized where I was heading. So yeah.
That's really beautiful. And something that keeps coming up on my Instagram Explore page is that sometimes we spend so much time looking forward that we don't really appreciate that we're currently where we used to wish we were. And we don't really take time to appreciate that. So seeing that radiating off of you is wonderful. To that point, how, when it does get tough, when you're overwhelmed with coursework or when, there's tech issues, whatever, what helps you keep your confidence in those moments?
Yeah. So I think generally, there's a little bit of, fake it till you make it a little bit. I think there's a bit of making sure that, you have prepared, but that last little bit of a boost comes from just, I'm going to just do this and see what happens. And I think, like I said before, generally, I think I tend to sort of compartmentalize and put things on paper in different places. And I think maintaining my confidence has been, it's been important for me to, see where I've not always got things right, but what I've learned from it. I think knowing that there are steps that I've had to take and to keep taking them is important. Definitely has encouraged me. I think there's just an essence of knowing that I have something to give. Can
you say that last part for me again? What do you have?
I have something to give.
You love to see it. You love to see it. You know what I'm going to ask you to do, but is there anything else before I ask you to do it that you'd like to share about your experience as this force of nature, empowering women everywhere, and what you hope for some of the attendees in the room tonight?
I think just, not giving up on yourself and what you have in mind to do. I think I have been very discouraged because I thought I've got so much on my plate already. I don't know if I can do anything, but I do feel that this is something I need to do. And going back to, for instance, I've got my Notion at the moment. So Notion is it's kind of like an app that you can use for planning. And I found it so helpful to be able to go back to that and be like, this is all the things that are happening. These are all the things that I've started, and actually they are going somewhere. It's not just like little bits that don't connect, mind maps that don't connect. It's actually like they do have purpose. They are following a line. And so I would say, just don't give up on yourself. Don't give up on the visions that you started and created. They will lead somewhere. So yeah.
Love it. All right, you know what's next?
Yes. Okay. Okay. So do me a favor. It may feel weird, but breathe in and out with me. How often do we get that time and those places and spaces to let out what we may be carrying within a community? A study showed that over 40% of Christian women of various generations and backgrounds felt they rarely or never get that chance to meditate or to be in a godly community outside of their church services. I'm Tola Taiwo, founder of Know Your Culture. Know Your Culture is a podcast and platform for curated encouragement through honest conversation, but also through sharing and promoting varied art forms to meet our holistic needs as people who just aren't machines. Join our IG community coming soon. Our focus is empowering godly women to shed light on key swept under the carpet issues and ultimately to foster a culture of change in a world full of identity crisis and low self-worth. Something I think we can all, no matter our background, gain from, don't you think?
Thank you so much for that. Oh, amazing, amazing. I see Julene over there just like ready to pick up whatever you're putting down. It's awesome. Thank you so much for joining us tonight and sharing your journey. I'm so proud of you, and I know everyone at BSWN is as well. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Bobby.
And whenever you need me to introduce you, even if it's just the coffee maker in the morning, you just give me a All right, so let's, last but not least, we are gonna hear from Julian Robinson. She's one of these people that you don't even know how to introduce them, because what does she not do? So Julene is an international, multi-award winning, multidisciplinary performance artist, scientist, scholar, and a wellness expert. Again, what does she not do? She is dedicated to helping innovators, leaders, and artists to exemplify leadership in their work and life through resilience building, wellness, and creative expression. All of Robinson's work is coming from her foundation as a storyteller. In our prep meeting for tonight, I had to keep my mouth shut about some really exciting news that you've had. So I'm going to ask you at some point if it's no longer embargoed, because I would love for you to share it with the group, but I won't spill your beans. I'll let you do that if you would like to. So let's start on your journey. And I feel like this is going to be kind of pick your poison on which journey you're going to talk to us about, because you do so much and you have such a huge impact with everyone that comes into your orbit, which must be exhausting, but I'm so glad you do it. So as a multi-hyphenated person, individual, woman, Black woman, you are a one-woman band in many ways, which isn't easy. So first of all, how are you? How has this journey been for you?
Wow, okay. We're coming from a long way. Because I'm an artist, I'll start by saying, because I'm an artist and we don't have businesses, artists, we just make work. We don't really have mechanisms in place to ensure that we're not the starving artists. We kind of hope for the best and make work. And I really, really want to change that. Like I'm so tired of it and I don't want to do it anymore. And because of that, I have been trying my best to acquire all these beautiful skills. I mean, I started out as a chemist because, I'm a Caribbean child born and raised in a post-colonial society, and I am required to do something that is going to pay my bills and allow me to be a contributing citizen in society. And so I did science because I was going to go to med school, and I got into med school and it was like insanely expensive, and poor my dad just could not, I wasn't going to put him through that. So I finished my degree in chemistry, and then I happened to follow my friend to the theater one day, and I'm like, look, I'm not going to get involved, I'm just here for moral support. And before you know it, I'm in a musical. And before you know it, I'm in several plays. And before you know it, I'm winning awards. And before you know it, I'm doing my master's in a different country. And now I'm thinking, okay, building legacy is important to me. Building something that is sustainable to community is important to me. So how am I going to do that? How am I going to garner all the skills and knowledge and expertise that I have in so many different ways and make it into something that can support not just me, but family, community, and going out into the macro, the world. And so I've been trying to figure that out for a long time. And I'm gotta say, coming into Women in Business was my attempt at really like, seriously, we need to put mind power to this. And I was the worst student. I hid because I'm like, I'm so confused. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't show my face in the Zoom calls. I don't show up to my one-to-ones with Bobby because I'm like, Bobby, I just don't know what I'm doing. And then one day I was just like, Bobby, I don't know what I'm doing. And that's when she was like, okay, the good thing is that you are here. And it was from that moment, and I know I'm talking in circles, but it was from that moment that I'm like, okay, maybe I can actually figure this out. I don't think it'll be easy because there is absolutely no blueprint out there for an artist trying to be an entrepreneur and trying to think about their work as an entrepreneur. Because every art and every artistry is so different, and the blueprint is so different for different things, and it's less for performance-based artwork. So it's just like, I don't know what I'm doing. How am I going to do this? So I'm still thinking it through and still moving through it. But I gotta say, recently I've been coming into some clearing because I'm constantly going through the course, constantly and writing and rewriting my pitches and writing and rewriting my what's it called? The strategizer.
The business model canvas.
The business model canvas. Like, I'm constantly changing and doing that. And then life happened and things happened. And I got a project in the Barbican. And so now that is beginning to, I got one of my projects in the Barbican. So I'm working with the Barbican Center to develop one of my shows. And because I'm doing that, I'm beginning to learn more about how I can even use that as a part of my business. So it's just like, I'm still learning. I'm still very much learning, but I feel like I'm coming into a clearance, and I'm feeling my confidence way more. Like, I am now walking into rooms and telling people, oh yeah, I do this and I charge. And I charge this amount. And even sometimes, like, it doesn't turn out the way that I want, and I get that icky feeling, and I'm like, ooh, I'm getting icky feelings. I love it. Let's try it again. Yeah. So that's what I've been doing. Yeah. Whew. Did I answer the question? I don't know.
It doesn't even matter, because the change from when I had to basically come to your house and say, turn on Zoom. So let's talk about it. So now you're not hiding from the rooms, you're walking into them, slamming your purse on the desk and being like, run me my check, right? So being an artist is something that comes with rejection. It comes with setbacks. It's just part of the game. So I would love to hear how you keep your confidence up, and how you bounce back from no's, and how you just leap from skill to Barbican to I'm gonna try to get you to say it tonight, so you know what I'm trying to do.
So I think, rejection as an artist is a very particular thing, right? You kind of know that that's going to happen, and there is narratives out there to tell you that, oh, a lot of these times you don't get the role because there's so many things involved, right? But as an entrepreneur, the rejections are new to me, and I was like, ooh, I thought this was a brilliant pitch, though. How could you say no? And I have to go home and nurse myself. But I think also because I'm an artist, I think of confidence as a practiced behavior. Like, for me, confidence is not just an idea. It is something that you have to embody, even when nothing is going on. So I can sit in this chair right now as I'm about to eat my dinner, which is just tacos, and embody confidence. And if I can practice myself in experience and confidence in my body, then I can walk into a room confidently. And then I can do everything in my life to support that confidence that moves through me every day. So I have a strict morning routine now, thanks to COVID, that I ensure that I take care of my mind and my body. I write, I journal every single day. And my journaling doesn't take any specific form. I have to write 3 pages because what's her name? The Cameron lady in the Artist Way. She encouraged that we do morning papers as artists. So it has to be 3 pages long. And I try to use a small book so I don't intimidate myself. And I just pour my heart out and leave it at that. And then sometimes throughout the day, if things happens, I might come back to that. I take care of my body so that my body feels strong and supportive, and that I get a moment to check in with my body every day to see, are you doing okay? What's going on? Do you need more water? What's going on with that? And then I also meditate, and the meditation doesn't have to take the form of me sitting after my yoga practice, and because I'm also a yoga instructor as well. So I don't just do that, but it can sometimes take a really long walk alone, or just sitting outside looking at my neighbors live their beautiful lives with their beautiful children and notice things. And then sometimes it does take just me sitting silently, playing some Sade and just like going in to just really reflect and that allows me to, whenever I need to show up somewhere, I can show up because I know where I am and I know who I am and I know how to bring myself back if I walk into a room, get rejected, and be like, ooh, okay, I need to go home. I'm gonna do some yoga to get all of that off of me. I'm gonna write about it to get it all out, get all these feelings out, or know how to, I have other mechanisms in my life to ensure that I'm dealing with the aches of rejection, because they are very painful sometimes. But yeah, so that's how I approach confidence.
I mean, you just gave us a masterclass. We're gonna have to watch the replay. This is gonna be part of my morning routine, listening to you guys talk about how you maintain. Thank you so much for sharing that. And for those of you who didn't catch it, it's the Artist's Way. You were smart because you have a little journal. I bought the branded journal, and those pages are big.
I used to do that, and I just like, I used to write pages of I don't know what to write, and I'm like, Jules, just cut it down by a small regular book.
That's the way. We're gonna move on to a journal this size. So amazing. I don't even know where to start. I just want to go practice like everything you just said. But I will start somewhere. In terms of, you touched on the fact that as an artist, artists don't generally think of themselves as commodities, as businesses, as entrepreneurs. Could you talk about how the Women in Business program in general, and just the individual journey that you went on, helped you to shift your mindset around that? And what was one of the most important takeaways, I guess, from that part of your journey?
I think coming to the Women in Business, it really from the get-go made me feel like it was possible. Like, yeah, I know I have a million little pieces scattered everywhere, and I don't know what pieces I have, and I don't know what goes where, but listening to all the different women navigate, trying to figure out their little pieces, I'm like, okay, I may not know how to figure out these pieces, but it is possible to figure out these pieces. It is possible. And I am going to write very bad business model canvases. I'm going to write very bad pitches. And then I don't know how, but it's gonna figure out a way. It's gonna happen. I don't know, because I'm not gonna stop writing bad business model canvases until I get it right. And it's just that sitting, and you, Bobby, and I'm your biggest fan. You do not allow us to resign into it can't be done. It doesn't make you demand that we show up, not just at the sessions, but for ourselves, and like take a moment. Maybe today is not the day you need to address this, but it is going to be addressed. Just know that. And I appreciate that, because I understand that kind of drive for excellence, because you require the excellence that is obviously in all of us, because we wouldn't have gathered in the first place. And so learning, it allowed me to learn the things that were given to us in the course in a way that I can actually learn them, because I can digest them at the time when I need to digest them, which is why I go back to that all the time. I went back to the pitch meeting to make sure that my pitch is okay. And even though I don't think it's perfect, but it is a good resource for me that I can use all the knowledge there to apply to this area that doesn't have a map. And maybe I could say, okay, we can use this here when you're trying to figure out how you want to think about this particular kind of artwork, and how that you can pitch that. And so it allows my brain to feel like it can be anchored into something. And I really appreciate that about the course, and just being able to like celebrate with other people. As you can see, I love to be excited. so celebrate all the other wins. And there are several people in the cohort that are moving beautifully, and Michaela has a beautiful website, and I'm just like, ooh, I want my website to look that nice as well. And so it also has the element of inspiration that is involved in it, because everybody's doing the work, and it's not perfect, but we're getting there. Like, I really want to talk to Nkechi about getting all those different people to help her, because I'm there. I cannot do the finance. So I'm like, I need to know how you're getting people to meet you where we are at, so that I can do that. So yeah, so I really appreciate this program. I really do. Does that answer the question? I hope it does.
It answered my question, and it made me so proud, because when you guys start dragging yourselves and don't need me to do it for you, it's just, my work here is done. I will lastly ask you for your pitch.
All right. So Van Gogh cutting off his ear is the poster child of what it means to be a great artist, right? And the starving artist is the face of what it takes to live a creative life. But artists record and preserve human history. And as the world is falling apart around us, we need our artists now more than ever. But we are evidently the most disposable demographic, and I fiercely disagree. So my team and I work with women who are artists, actors, and creatives at heart, who are stuck in the starving artist wheel, who are creatively blocked and are having difficulties navigating their lives or pivoting in this unprecedented time. And we work together using a tailored and specific holistic process, which involves coaching, workshops, trainings, and play to envision, strategize, and build a thriving, fulfilling life. Hi, I am Julene Robinson, artist and scientist. And if you or anybody you know are ready to craft that full, abundant life, book a free consultation with me, and let's move towards the extraordinary, flourishing creative we both know you are.
Give the people the link, Julie. Give them the link. Drop it in the chat. Well done. Well done. Oh my gosh. From the woman crying on a one-to-one with me, just saying, I can't show up because I didn't show up to this. I'm a proud mama. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for that. That was absolutely beautiful. Guys, we're going to open it up to questions. So you have 4 of the most just formidable women I've ever had the pleasure of coming into contact with at your disposal. Pick their brains. So Banasa, Nkechi, Tola, Julene, you guys are unstoppable. I cannot believe it. I'm going to shut up. I'm going to let people ask you questions. Pop them in the chat if you'd like me to read them out for you, or just go ahead and unmute yourself. That's fine if you'd like to ask a question. Ooh.
I have a question.
Okay.
So I have a question for Banasa. So when you were talking, you spoke about how I've never thought about how I like the type of pitch that I do. I kind of just pitch from my heart. So it was very interesting to hear you talk about, okay, I am a statistics driven person. So we're gonna come at you with the numbers. And you talk about how that you did the math to determine the size of the market and the profitability. And I was just like, where do you find this math and how do you do it? Because I'd actually like to really think about it in terms of like art and how that, because now I'm looking at how to monetize digital art, because, you know, this is where we are, and NFTs and all that stuff. And so I'm like, okay, before I even get that, because I do that, I am somebody who jumps the gun. Where do you find the math, and what is this math, and how do you do it? And
I have to get back with those prices, because I don't.
So I do I get a lot of my information on the market from secondary sources. So Mintel and Euromonitor are my best friends. That's where I get that information. And those are market research reports, and they look at a number of different sectors. And Mintel reports, if you Google them, they usually cost thousands of pounds. They're very expensive, but you can get them for free from the British Library, and you can interface with someone there, and she will be your library guide and literally give you all the information that you need. And that's where I get the information on my business to understand how big is it? Is it growing? Is it shrinking? What are the experts saying in terms of the market? Are there any niches that are coming out that are really interesting in that regard? And that helps me. That is also what helped me decide that the hats wasn't going to be my career path. Understanding that market. So first I look at, using my business as an example, I look at what's called the total addressable market. So that's hair care. So the whole hair care market, all hair care everywhere, shampoos, straighteners, conditioners, whatever. Then I go to the serviceable addressable market. So that's the niching down process, part one. And that is, well, Ksoni isn't all of that. Ksoni is shampoo and conditioner. So I'll look at that. And then the next stage of niching down is called the serviceable obtainable market, basically. And that is, who can I actually reach, considering there are 4 people in the team and we've got X amount of money and we can only do certain channels. So we know that we're not going for global domination this year, basically. Like, we'll be really happy to get a high street retailer in the UK in like 50 stores or something. So that's what those Mintel reports will help you do. They'll first tell you the size of that market, and then they'll tell you about different niches within that market. And the other place I look is, and Bobby will laugh, I get a lot of my information through Google. So I will do a lot of Google searching, and I'm really interested in natural hair care. I'm really interested in what drives us to seek sustainable options. I'm interested in what else are we doing when we're washing our hair. I watch Real Housewives when I'm washing my hair. It takes 8 hours. So I want to know all of that. I want to understand the market. I am relentlessly Googling and searching through what's happening in my market. And that's where things start to come up too. And you learn more about the market there too. And so that's where the math part of it comes in for me.
Thank you for sharing that tip on Mintel. I did have flashbacks to my ad agency days, having to pull those reports. And just to echo that, it's everyone from small businesses to big multi-million-dollar agencies. This is the kind of thing that they rely on. So it's a really great tip, especially about the library. So thank you so much for that, Vanessa. Any questions? I'll keep my eye on the chat, but feel free to unmute yourself if you want to just hop in. Julene, any way I can get you to
I can't.
Okay.
They have.
Okay, I won't spill the beans, but one thing that I will ask you then is, how do you, when big exciting things happen, how do you avoid the upper limit problem? How do you avoid that cycle of potential self-sabotage or feeling, oh, this is too good for me, I need to take a step back? How do you just keep plunging anyway into greatness?
That's a really good question. I've never actually like thought about it before, because there are many times that I'm like, I'm done. I can't do this. I'm done. I'm done. But then tomorrow I'll wake up and I'm like, but I can't do this. I can't do this. So I have to do something. And then I'm like back on it again, because I honestly do feel like sometimes you need to take a step back and be like, okay, what's really going on here and how do I need to move forward? And when you say the upper limit problem, clarify that a little bit more for me.
Yeah, this is actually, it's part of a book. So I can, Mina, if you remind me, I'll find the book on my nightstand and send it to you. But it's basically this idea that we all have a certain capacity for greatness, or what we think we deserve. And one thing that people do is when they get to their upper limit, they'll do something to knock themselves back, either subconsciously or consciously. So that can be getting really close to maybe a weight loss goal, and then a cheat day turns into a cheat month. That can be being really happy in your relationship and picking a fight because you feel like it's too good to be true. In business, it turns up in ways like that as well, picking a fight with your co-founder perhaps, or procrastinating on your email because you're getting all these inquiries. So there are lots of little subtle ways, and once you realize you do it, you're like, oh damn.
That is amazing, because I want to move and I feel like I'm picking a fight with my housemates because I want to move. Okay, I understand what you mean. First of all, because I'm an artist, so I'm extremely sensitive. And I'm a Black woman, so I'm in therapy. And I believe everybody, regardless of who you are, what you're going through, you should be in therapy, right? So I go to therapy twice a month to make sure that I'm taking care of the parts of my mental health that I just can't do by myself. And this is something that I had to practice. There is a deep part of me that believe that I am worthy of the work it takes to live a full, beautiful life. And the work can be really difficult, but I'm worthy of the work. So I'm worthy of the work that it takes, even though it doesn't feel great. So sometimes I may kick myself in the foot because I think something is just too good and I'm just gonna mess it up. But I'm very gentle with myself now, and this is practiced. This was not the case a year ago. This is practice where I can be very gentle with myself and be like, okay, girl, you deserve that. You deserve it. This is the life you want. You want to be happy and you want to be joyful. You deserve it. So do it. And sometimes it's really hard. And particularly like this week when I had therapy, we realized that I just don't know how to live in joy. Like it's very difficult for me. I always feel like I need to be doing something. Something needs to be done. You're a Black woman. You can't afford to be out here joyful. You need to work. And my therapist is like, but why? Why? You want to be happy, so why? And I started to, I sat and I started to watch a sitcom and I started to laugh on top of my voice, filling up my space. And it's really uncomfortable, but I'm like, look, we're going to sit in joy today and it's going to be fine. And you're not going to die and it's going to be great. And you can do it again next week. And so I think by practicing moments where I am worthy, I am literally worthy of this joyful moment, it makes it less likely for me to kick myself in the foot because it's like too good to be true because you deserve horrible things in your life. And so I practice the behavior of being full and being joyful and getting the things that I want. And because of you as well, I negotiated a prize for something and I got it. And I'm like, I wallowed in that. I told all my friends and I spent all day happy because I'm just like, you deserve it. You worked because you were worthy of the work. So yeah, that's how I think I approach it. Some of it I can take care of myself. Some of it I need to outsource to a therapist. Yeah, so that's
Wow.
me.
Okay, well, another masterclass. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna email my therapist when we get off the call. Thank you for that. I'm not gonna ask a follow-up because I need to process what you just said. Also, I think Haygood had a question as well. If we take nothing away from this night, though, we all need to sit in our joy because we deserve it. My gosh. Haygood, do you want to go ahead and unmute and ask your question?
Oh, honestly, I have really enjoyed this session. It's really helped me. I actually did another class. I'm in the US, just to let you know, but I'm very familiar with the UK. Love you. But I keep volunteering my services to get services and then wind up getting involved in someone else's project and delaying my project. And I found out that that's been my biggest block for some time, which is why I keep delaying my launch. But listening to you ladies and like also not being able, I'm not the best public speaker. I get a lot of anxiety, but listening to the pitches, I'm gonna now practice. I really enjoyed hearing them. I enjoyed seeing you guys, like in the way you illuminate it with your hands and your eyes. So this is exactly what I needed. So thank you, ladies. It's not really a question. It's just more, lots of props. And thank you for just doing this and being there for me.
Oh my gosh, thank you for being here. Thank you so much. If you need any help on pitching or anything, drop us a line. We've got a structure. Happy for you to be unofficially part of the community from across the pond. But most importantly, thank you for showing up. And you should really thank yourself for recognizing that that is a limiting behavior. That is your upper limit problem, volunteering your services. And now you know better, so you can do better.
Exactly.
We've got time for about one more question if anyone would like to ask one. We haven't heard from Leanne. For those of you who don't know me, I like to put people on the spot, so Julian's over there laughing. We haven't heard from Leanne. Is it Semra? Do you have a question? Or Sophie or Kay? I think we heard you earlier. If any of you want to hop in with a question, we'd love to hear it.
Hi, Jolene's laughing because I'm her friend, and and I saw her post this on Instagram, and I thought, oh my god, that looks cool. Let me join. I just wanted to say thank you to you ladies. I really like that you pitched in different styles, different ways as well. Like I saw like different styles, and it was really interesting and inspiring as well to hear some of your stories. Yeah, so no question, but just thank you and good luck in your endeavors and keep reaching for the stars.
Thank you.
I just want to say Leanne is out there building a project management empire. So yeah.
Tell us more, Leanne. Leanne, we've got time. Do you want to do your 60-second pitch?
I don't have one. This is why I'm here. I'm like, wait, I was like, wait, I could probably use that. Let me not act like I know how to pitch. Like, you know,
Leanne,
yeah.
You've got time, you've got space, you've got a safe space. Let's go. I will start the clock.
Okay, I don't have a pitch, but I can probably, I guess, use this opportunity just to tell you about what I want to do.
More telling, less talking about telling. Come on, let's go.
So I want to do projects in the international development sector that essentially provide sustainable solutions for people who are living in oppressed communities in developed countries. So it's very niche, it's very specific. It's because I guess it's like I'm kind of trying to fuse my passion with my experience. So my experience has been in project management. My passion is international development. So I'm kind of putting the two together, starting my company. And I'm looking to potentially contract in that area while setting up, because I need to pay the bills, but not too sure how I'm going to go about that and where I'm going to go about that, because I'm not sure if I'm staying where I am in the UK either. But yeah, it's a journey. So the company is hopefully going to be delivering projects like building schools and providing running water solutions. And I really want it to be that the people who live in these communities are kind of at the heart of the projects that we do. And sustainability is going to be the core issue. I don't want to go in and provide something to solve an issue that's only going to last a few days, and then, you know, when we leave, the problem's there again. So yeah, I rambled, but
that's amazing. I think there are a few people in this room that will actually be able to help you. So if you want to drop your email in the chat, I think you should. Guys, thank you so much. There are a few big takeaways that I want to point out. One is, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. So next time Leanne saunters into one of these meetings, she will have her 60-second pitch ready, and I'm so excited to hear it. If that's what you can do on the spot, I cannot wait to see what you do when you don't have me breathing down your neck to do it.
Thank you.
I cannot thank the wonderful women who joined us to share their stories tonight enough. You know, hearing Vanasa's journey from all of the different sectors that she's been in and the impact that she's had is incredible. Again, I need to plug the shampoo. It smells so good. It's awesome. Thank you for sharing that really key knowledge about the reports and how we can access them traditionally for something that's not super accessible. To Julene and Banasa for sharing their journaling and how that helps them. Thank you guys so much. I actually journal as well. I cannot recommend it enough to you guys. One of the things that Julene touched on is processing, and writing out things is such an important and helpful tool. Julene, your enthusiasm is just infectious. Like, I'm gonna be smiling all night. So wonderful to hear how you sustain yourself and how you really are working on yourself. It's a process still, you know, staying and giving yourself permission to be in that space of joy is something I think that we can all really learn and work on. So that's incredible. Nkechi, the way that you want to legacy build, the way that you want to lift people up is just one of the more inspiring things, one of the most inspiring things I've ever heard. Thank you for sharing that vision and that passion with us. All of your journeys are incredible. And when you can externalize that journey to help other people go on their journeys, that is a really special thing. You should be really, really, really proud of yourself. And Tola, oh my gosh, you are just lifting up women, godly women, anyone who just wants to stand in the sunshine and be wonderful and feel whole and feel held. And again, you are one of those magic people that if anyone's lucky enough to meet you, be helped by you, be in contact with you, have a cup of coffee with you, they are just blessed. So thank you so shucks. Thank you so much for sharing all of your journeys tonight. It's been an absolute pleasure to listen to you and learn from you. I will say that there are always opportunities in these spaces to learn and grow, and there are always opportunities to connect. So in our last couple minutes, if you guys want to drop your email in the chat, we can go ahead and get those collated. Julene, Banasa's husband, is actually who I've been trying to connect you with on this Barbican thing. So there is always synergy and overlay. So again, as I say, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. I am so proud of every single one of you guys that showed up tonight and took this time for yourself. We are really excited to have the replay available for you. I could not have hoped for a better outcome tonight. I'm really emotional thinking about how far everyone's come and how far you guys will all go. I am going to invite you guys all to the project page, which Mina has popped in the chat. Please go have a look. It'll keep you up to date on what we're doing, what we have coming up. We did have a question about whether the Women in Business program will be running again this year. So go ahead, sign up to the email list, make sure that you're staying in touch. If you need anything from the community, if you need support, cohort, drop us a line. We definitely want to be able to be out here in the community doing whatever we can to enable you guys to reach amazing heights. So the project page and the membership page are in the chat now. Grab those for you. You will get an email with resources and everything following on from this evening. I will gift you back a minute of your evening, guys, unless Mina has anything else to say. I will say good night and good luck, and thank you for joining us for this Women in Business event with BSWN on confidence, self-awareness, and pitching.
Thank you. If you have any questions about the program, just reach out. We're here and we are happy to answer them. Have a good night. Thanks so much for joining us.